Okay, so that is 11:32. As I say, there's 17 people who have joined at the moment. We did have 100 registered, but I made it, and I deliberately said that anyone who couldn't attend could register and we'd send the recording out. So thank you very much to those who are here with me at the moment. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for joining my session this morning on running open events through ClubV1. So what I would like to go through this morning, if I could get the slideshow to work, which for some reason I can't. Bear with me 1 second. Technical problems. There we go. Okay, so what do I want to cover today? So I want to go through who can run opens through ClubV1, so which ClubV1 package levels, and why should you run your opens through ClubV1 rather than your bookings through BRS potentially. I'm then going to go through how you actually set up your opens if you choose to do so. I'm going to go through how golfers book. Oh, can't see the PowerPoint. Thank you for that, John. I obviously didn't share my screen again once I got it working. Bear with me. Best laid plans and all that. There we go. Hopefully you can see that now. If you can't see that, please let me know. John, thank you for that. So I'll just recap that. I want to go through who can run open events through ClubV1 and why should you, how to set up your open events within ClubV1, how golfers book your open events, including our open aggregator. I'm going to go through the CDH link, and then we're going to have a bit of a Q&A session at the end if anyone wants to ask any questions. If you don't want to ask questions on today's session, you don't have to. Please give me a call, drop me an email, and I can answer any questions you may have on today's session. Okay, so who can run open events through ClubV1? And the answer is every single level of ClubV1 can use our open events. Okay, so whether you're on one of our select packages, our entry package, management, premium, or ultimate, you can take open entries through ClubV1. The only caveat to that, and this is only a slight caveat, is that ClubV1 entry clubs can currently, as of right at this minute, take payments through the system. We have had it agreed this morning that what we are going to do is open it up so that entry clubs can take payments for open events through the system. So I'm hoping that as of some point next week, that will be available to those of you who use ClubV1 entry. Okay, so why should you run open events through ClubV1? So as golf clubs linked with ClubV1, you all have a CDH link, which then you can force golfers to input their CDH ID if you want to. We'll come to that in a bit more detail a little bit later. But what that means is that when that golfer books, it creates a record within ClubV1. It has their current handicap in there, and you can then email that member, or you can convert that, email that visitor or convert that visitor to a member. So if they come and play in your open, they love your golf course, they want to join, there's a very easy convert to member button within their profile, which it creates. You no longer have to manually transfer your entries from potentially BRS into ClubV1. And we know that what that means is your visitors may come and book for your opens in BRS. They put their details in. It's maybe a team of 4 event, and they put 2 players down and they put 2 as TBC. Now, they won't have the CDH numbers for the TBCs. They might put in their own CDH numbers wrong. But what our system will do is make sure that what they're giving you is all the information that they can. And then after the competition, all of those results automatically upload to the WHS if it is a competition that is acceptable for handicap. Okay, so they're just a few of the reasons why I believe you should run your opens through ClubV1. So how do you set up your opens? Setting up open events is very, very straightforward. Those of you who set up your weekly, daily, monthly competitions will be able to set up an open competition because it's exactly the same. The only thing is that you'll change the button to say it's an open event. So let's set one up now and we'll see how easy that is. That link should now open my ClubV1, which it has, I think. Yeah, there we go. It's just loading up now. We sign into there. And we go to add competition here, or of course we can go into golf at the top there. But let's add competition. For the sake of this demonstration this morning, we're going to use a men's better ball competition. And what we're going to do for this, we're just going to have it as your typical men's better ball. So teams of 2 with 1 score to count per hole. You can also run your AMAMs. You can run your teams of 4 with 2 scores to count, or your teams of 4 with 2 scores to count on each hole, but 3 scores to count on your par 3s if you want to. So all of the formats that you have available to your weekly competitions for your members, you have that available for your open competitions as well. So we're going to set this up as our webinar open. We're going to set the date for that as, let's go next Monday, the 13th of October. It's going to be a Stableford, and it's going to be an open competition which allows visitors. Okay. I'm not then going to go through all of the details because you will be used to these in your competitions anyway. I'm just going to go through what is relevant for open competitions. Okay. So we're going to skip through here. Then we can now add the handicap limit on there. Okay, so do we want to have a handicap limit? If we do we want it to be a playing handicap limit, or do we want it to be a handicap index handicap limit? We can do whichever one we want. Okay, then we can set our handicap limit if we want to at 36. And then we get the option here of do we want to stop entries over that handicap limit? So in this case, if I say, yes, I want to stop entries, that will now stop people whose handicap is over 36 from entering the competition. If I select no on here, that will allow people whose handicap is over 36 to enter, but in the competition on the day, they will only be able to play off 36. Okay. You've then got your handicap allowance down there, which if it's a qualifier or acceptable for handicap, that would be fixed. But as this isn't, it is open, and you could give 100% handicap allowance in there if you wanted to, and it wasn't acceptable for handicap. But we'll leave it as it is for now, and we'll continue through there. Do you want to have divisions? Exactly the same as you do in your normal members competitions. And then you choose your card again, as you normally would. So I'm going to use my yellow card there. Do we have any holes not in use for this competition? So maybe during the winter, you're doing a 15-hole competition, for example. You could set that up as well. And then we set up our format. So like I said, today, we're just going to use your standard better ball competition. So team of 2 with 1 score to count on each hole. You have got the custom score options there as well, if you wanted to use them. Continue through there. And now we have access restrictions. Now, to be honest, these wouldn't really be used for open competitions because we don't need to put gender in because we've already set it up as a men's better ball competition. So we don't need to, disallow ladies or just allow men. So we can pretty much ignore the access restrictions. Continue through there. And this is the important bit now. We have to set up the start sheet. Okay. So we're going to set up our start sheet. And I'm going to take bookings from 8 o'clock until midday on Monday. It's got teams per time as 1. We need to change that to 2 because we're going to have 2 teams of 2 playing at each tee time. And we're going to go for 10-minute intervals. Okay. So that's going to allow us 50 teams to enter. Okay. Continue through there. And then we have our booking options. So do we want to email notification to tee time bookings? Well, yes, for an open booking, of course, we will want to. So that means that when our visitors or our members book for this open competition, do they get an email confirmation? Yes. How do we want those visitors or members to be able to book? Do we want our members to be able to book on the PSI? My personal opinion on this is probably not. However, if you want to enable them to book on the PSI, you can do that. And then if they're paying an entry fee, that money could come off their competition's balance if that's what you've got. But more often than not, what golf clubs who use our open events at the moment is they just enable how did I do booking, and they get members and visitors to pay via credit card. It's one income stream, and it's very, very simple to then do it that way. So we set our enabled from, our enabled until, and our visible from dates. Now, obviously, I've set this up for Monday, so the default dates are fine. But you might be setting this up today for next July, next September. You need to make sure that you have your booking enabled from when you want it to go live, and you have it enabled until, if you want that to close before the day of the competition, you can set your date for when that booking is available until. And visible from realistically should match the enabled from, okay? But if you wanted to make it visible but not bookable, you can do that. Then we're going to continue through there. We have the option to put in start sheet zones if we want to. So zones might be used for sort of scratch opens, maybe, where you want to put people out in handicap order. And what that would allow us to do is set up one zone or a number of zones within our 8 till 12 tee times, where your visitors or members can say, I want to play between 8 and 10 as an example, or I want to play between 10 and 12 for an example. They would then just book into that time, and you could then do a draw based on handicap. You could do it completely random. You could do it to make sure that two groups with the same handicap are playing together. There's a few different options in there that you can do. But for the sake of today, we're not going to be using the start sheet zones. Services. Now, services, for those of you who are on premium or above, will know that we have introduced, it might be ultimate or above actually, we have introduced services into competition. So you can book your buggies, you can book your trolleys. At the moment, services are not available for open competitions. And the reason for that is because the open competitions are running How Did I Do? And it's a little bit of a different design to the normal competitions. Services, so buggies, trolleys, etc., will be available for open competitions at some point in 2026. I don't have a more accurate date available for you at the moment, other than it will be next year, I'm afraid. So if you're looking to book your buggies, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to do that directly through the system for your open events. Do we want to enable sign-in for the competition? Yes, that's fine. Do we then want people to sign in on the PSI or sign in on How Did I Do? Again, from my sort of experience, I would say that most golf clubs don't enable PSI sign in and don't enable How Did I Do sign in either, because most golf clubs will sign those golfers in when they arrive. They'll have a registration desk. So you don't need to enable PSI or How Did I Do sign in, because it'll be available in ClubV1. Do we want to charge? Now, the vast majority of the golf clubs that use our opens, yes, we do want to charge. What we then have is we enable that, we have our competition entry fee, and we can set a price for members or a price for visitors. So we're going to charge our members £10, we're going to charge our visitors £25 to enter our open event. Okay, and we're going to continue through there. Do we want PSI or How Did I Do score entry? So do we want these members or visitors to be able to go to the PSI or go on to How Did I Do and input their score? Again, my experience is generally no, because clubs will take the scorecards off these people at the end of their round and they'll input them for them. But if that's something you want to do, then yes, absolutely. You can enable both score entry on the PSI and How Did I Do. Continue through there. Leaderboards, again, particularly with opens, can be a bit of a touchy subject, whether you want leaderboards to show on the PSI or How Did I Do. And you can delay them if you want to. So if you wanted to display a leaderboard maybe at 7 o'clock at night, so that people who have gone home will know the leaderboard and they can look at that on How Did I Do, but you don't want it available while anyone's still out on the course, you can do that, no problem at all. Okay. Continue through there. We then see our competition details here, and we can put in a competition contact. So if you've got a member of the committee who is running this competition for you, you can put Matt Berg in there, and then that will then say on the description of the competition, if you're looking to enter this, please contact Matt Berg. Or if you need to ask any questions, please contact Matt Berg. Finish that, and that open is now set up. That's as simple as it is to set up our open. It's exactly the same as it is to set up any other competition that you would do, apart from that very first bit where we select open event, and then we have to select the payment, whether we're going to charge different for members and visitors. Okay, that's as simple as it is to set up your opens in ClubV1, and that is available to everyone. Okay. So how do your golfers book? So you can either put a simple link on your website, which will take them to the correct page on how did I do. So for example, for my demo golf club here, if I click on there, that then takes you in to my club's how did I do page. And I can see I've got that test open there, which is being run on Sunday. And I've got this webinar open that I've just set up here for Monday. So I can now come in here, view that competition, and I can select my tee time of what I want. Now, what you will have seen at the top there in this yellow block is I am not currently logged in to how did I do. So this is saying if you're a member of Berg Golf Club, you need to click here to log in because the entry fee is different. Okay. So at the moment, it thinks I'm a visitor, so it's going to charge me £25. If I was to log in, it would then charge me £10. Okay. So I'm then going to click on the 9:30 tee time, and I'm going to put my details in. The CDH number, my demo club is not linked to the CDH, so I can't actually accept the CDH number. So what would happen here is I could put my CDH number in if I want to, or if I didn't know it and I wasn't as a golf club forcing my visitors to put the CDH number in, I could just put not known in there, put my handicap in, and put my golf club in. Okay. I can then book, and that puts me in, and I can add my partner. I then add my partner, who I'm going to use as Adam. I can put his email address in if I want to, put his phone number in if I want to. I don't have to. For myself, I did have to as the lead booker. And then for my CDH number, again, if I knew Adam's, I could put that in. But as I don't, I can go in here, I can overtype his handicap, and I can put in his home golf club. Okay. I can then click book. And now it's confirming my booking, and I can now pay for this open event. Now, importantly, with the way these opens are, because you are paying for the open and you are booking your team, and this system is going to run that competition for you, at this point, you can only book your team in. Okay, so if you were looking to book for a 4-ball, which obviously I know a lot of golfers do, you would book your time at 9:30, you would confirm and pay, and then you'd just go in again and book that second time at 9:30. Okay, so that's nice and simple. So I'd click on pay. It would take me through to confirm my payment, and I could click pay by card as long as we're with clear accept. Okay, so I click on there, pop my details in, continue through there, and I would pop my credit card details in and pay that £50. Now, obviously, this is A, online and B, recorded, so I'm not going to be putting my credit card details in there during today's session, but you can see how simple that is. And then in the competition itself, it would then mark me as paid. Now, one thing I do want to point out at this point is because I have clicked book and gone to that payment screen, what that has now done, if I go into bookings, I can see that that has put my booking into the tee sheet, but I haven't paid. So you as the golf club now have a few options. You can go into your settings and you can go to golf settings here, and down at the bottom we have our open competition settings. And the first question here is set whether unpaid open competition bookings get an email reminder. So I've got that set to yes. The second question then says set the number of minutes to wait before sending that email reminder. So in 1 hour's time, I will get an email automatically from How Did I Do, ClubV1, saying, you've entered this open event, but you haven't paid. Please click here to pay. Okay. If I then don't pay, we've got another option here as to set whether unpaid open competition bookings are removed automatically. And I've got that set to yes. And then set the number of minutes which unpaid open competition bookings are automatically removed. I've got that set to 4 hours. So what that means is after an hour, I'm going to get a reminder that I haven't paid. Then after 4 hours, if I still haven't paid, my booking is going to be removed from this open competition. We then have the member payment options. So we can allow our members to pay by their competition balance or their bar card if we want to, or the vast majority of our golf clubs say that they want everyone to pay by debit or credit card so that they just have that one income stream to track. Okay. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you as the golf club can force that CDH number during the setup of the competition. Okay. During the entry of the competition, sorry. So I've got mine set to no because my system doesn't allow me to do that. Okay. So that would be set to yes for the vast majority of you. Okay. So that is how your visitors are going to book via that direct link to your opens. Then what you can also do, if you use one of our websites, we have an open block that when you set up your open competitions will automatically populate to the open block, which is down here. Okay, so you've got this on your website, your visitors have gone to open competition, you click book and you can go and book that competition exactly the same way as you did earlier. Okay, and then finally, your opens are automatically added to our open aggregator at no extra cost. Now, this is part of the system that I don't think we've ever advertised very well. And I don't think it's part of the system that a lot of golfers actually know is there. And it's something that we need to do a better job of making sure that golfers know that's there. But if you could pass that on to your members as well, that would be appreciated. So what the open aggregator is it takes us through to How Did I Do? And I can come in here and say, I want to find an open event. And I live in Huddersfield. And I want to find any open events within 20 miles of Huddersfield. At this time of year, I'm going to look at next year. So I'm going to say from April the 1st next year through to the end of September next year. Okay. What format do I want? Do I want singles? Do I want team? Do I want both? So I'm going to look at both. And do I want men's competitions? Do I want ladies competitions? Or do I want mixed competitions? I'm going to look at men's. Okay. And then I click search. What that then does down here is brings up all of the open competitions that are set up within ClubV1, within How Did I Do, within 20 miles of Huddersfield that then I'm able to book into. So if we look at this Woodsum Hall one here, the Senior Pairs Open on the 1st of June 2026, I can view that competition and I can find the tee time. I can see what's booked and what's available. So I'm going to choose this 10:01 tee time here. And this is now linked to the CDH because this is Woodsum Hall's actual system. So I can now put my CDH number in there. As you can see, there is not that not known option now. So I have to put my CDH number in. I can then opt in to receive communications or not. And then I can click book. And that pulls me through. I can then add my playing partner. So I'm going to add Adam. And I don't know his CDH number off the top of my head, I don't think. Don't think I know his. Okay, so it's pulled him through as well. Pulled our handicaps through, both as 0.0. And then I can click pay and go and book in for that open event. Okay, simple as that. So exactly the same as we've seen before. It pulls through our handicaps and they are accurate as of right now. Okay, again, I'm not going to click pay on there because that will then put me into Woodsum Hall's open, which I don't want to do as much as I'd love to play Woodsum Hall. Unfortunately, I don't qualify as a senior. So I'm going to cancel that and that is going to take those bookings out of the tee sheet. Okay, so that's how we book on the Open Aggregator. The CDH link. Now, this is a really important part and one of the great benefits of using our system for your Opens, that all clubs have got that CDH link. So as I've said before, you can force golfers to input their CDH number at the time of booking. The handicaps are correct at time of booking. And then importantly, what you need to know, handicaps start getting updated daily from 3 days before the competition. So if I enter a competition now off 0.0, but the competition isn't until June, my handicap might go up in April or May. And that's fine, it doesn't matter, because my handicap on the system will stay as 0.0. But 3 days before your competition is due to run, we then sync up with the CDH. And then we do that daily up until the day of your competition. And then when you sign in for that competition, we do that check again. So when you're playing your competitions, your handicaps should all be up to date and accurate. Okay. Handicaps can also be updated manually at any time, but on an individual basis. So we appreciate that not many of you are going to go through all of your Open events and say, right, I need to pick all of my players and go and update their handicap manually. But you may want to do it for 1 or 2 players for whatever reason. Okay, but you can do that, but it is manually and it is on an individual basis. Okay. And that is a very simple overview this morning. I wanted to try and keep it down to less than half an hour. This morning was purely about Open events. I'm not going to go through the actual running on the day of the competitions because it's exactly the same as any other competition that you run.